Hi, my name is Ezekiel Anderson. I'm owner of 7 Extra Large, which is a frame and hardware company. We're based out of Northern California, Santa Rosa, and Paradigm Distributions, which is in Hayward, California.
My name is John Elliott, the co-owner of Ground Control Frames. We're based out of San Diego, California.
Hey, I'm Lawrence with 50/50. We're based in Costa Mesa, California. We've been in business for about 6 years. I think we started in 94, 95. And we were one of the first real frame companies on the market. For a few years, we'd been making standard 50/50 frames, which were found on a lot of USD skates, and briefly made a cameo appearance on some Remedy skates. Essentially, it was a great frame. The only problem was that trying to adapt it to different boots was a difficult task. We had to make base plates for all different skates.
The UFS system was actually designed by Salomon. It was based off of the 50/50 already existing frame. The people that spearheaded it were Shane Colburn and Jess Darren Forth. Some of the guys from Razors, Andy was involved. And then it was basically decided on by the industry that it would work.
It's going to expand our industry. It's going to create a block where there can be other companies being frame companies, to where the mounting is just like a skateboard truck, which I love the analogy of going to skateboarding, but it's just like a skateboard truck. There's a 6-hole pattern. With us, it's 2 bolts. Clicks right on. There you go, man. That's all it is. Kids take their frame off, put a new frame on. People can start frame companies. It's not that hard to start a frame company. It's going to expand our sport. And I think it's awesome. And you buy a boot, you buy a frame, and you buy a wheel. That's the way it should be.
Rather than you having to buy a $300 pair of skates, you'll be able to mix and match your frames with any skate you want to ride. If you want to ride 50/50, you don't have to grind down things and totally Frankenstein your skates out. You can pick any reputable frame brand and put it on any skate, and it's going to give the kids the individuality and their choice that they need in representing themselves and the companies that they believe in.
When the first frames came out and we were designing the first frames, we modeled them around the Majestic 12 boot, which was the biggest boot and the biggest skate out at the time. And it had a raised heel so that it felt like you were leaning forward a little bit, and that's the way this frame was designed, so that there would be 2 base plates. Problem is that it kind of left every boot looking like that. You couldn't really do anything with it. So the UFS frame is completely flat on the top, and as you can see, it's pretty similar to our standard frame. The axles are the same. There's a countersunk H block and a groove and everything. The first frames that are going to be available should be hitting in beginning of October, end of September. They're the John Julio Pro Model frame, the Fabiola da Silva Pro Model frame. We also have a red standard base frame. They'll probably be in stores for about $40–45. These will be about $50, and the big difference between these and the standard base model frames is that they have a dual core H block. So what that means is we can take a really hard, fast material and mold it into the H block, keeping the frame material strong. It's kind of like riding with an H block that's of a completely different material than the frame. It's really great, and it's going to open a lot of doors with different materials that we can try injecting them in. I think that with UFS coming, obviously we've got the experience in the frame market. Being in business 5 years, making frames. We know what's going to happen. We know what to expect as far as breakages and to do. Although skating has changed. People are going bigger now, and the frames have to withstand a lot more abuse. We've already got all the customer service and everything all ready to go, just in case there's a breakage. And we've looked at what has happened in the old frames, tried to avoid all those problems.
The actual technical things that are cool about our frame is there's a 45-degree chamfer on the end, so that when you go to do set slides, you have more control. So when you lay down your boot, just like when you go to do a Royale, the bigger your groove is, or the more friction you have, the more control you have. Well, we have a 45-degree angle all the way across the base, so any kind of set slide, it just gives you that balance point. It's totally, you can flip it either way. It's totally symmetrical, so it's the same on both sides. I think that in the next 6 months to a year, grind plates are going to be kind of obsolete. We're going to keep the price down so that kids can just buy frames. Like rather than having to buy grind plates and change this and change that, you can just go in and buy a set of frames for maybe $5–10 more than you would buy a grind plate. It's 8mm hardware, so your actual hardware is thicker, so you won't snap it. It's faster because it goes directly through the center of your bearings rather than having a spacer that squashes in there or builds up friction and heat. It just goes straight through, so it's faster. It's the thickest frame ever on the bottom. The part that snaps normally on everyone else's frame is across the bottom. It normally has fractures that go from the bottom up. If you look at the base of it, it's the thickest frame that's, as far as I know, the thickest frame that's ever been built at the bottom. But we kept it light in the center so that when you lock onto a ledge, it actually tilts your foot a little bit, bones your foot over for you. When you do top sides or regular on a ledge, it'll bone you over a little bit. And when you're doing rails, it makes a perfect little slot so it actually holds onto the rail nice.
Alright, Ground Control, yes?
Yes.
It's the first UFS frame company that's out in the market. We've been developing these frames for about 1.5 years, 2 years now. I had the idea about 2 years ago to come up with a symmetrical frame. And we launched it about 4 months ago. The idea behind Ground Control is pretty much simplicity. We're going with a real simple symmetric design. The H-block idea, which is also symmetric, and you can switch it around both ways, either way, whatever. You can do a million things with it. It's just simple, proven ideas. We've come up with something that's good and solid. A solid design. This is the new H-block, which is lowered. It's completely flush with the frame, so when you grind it down, all you do is buy a new H-block. And we've been testing a lot of different materials, and we've come up with H-blocks that are almost too fast to release. But that's the idea behind Ground Control, this whole symmetrical flush system, which we've patented. I'm pretty excited about. We're working on a new design for a frame and a new H-block idea as well. And look for it in your local store soon.
For Christmas, we've got 3 new ones coming out. These are still early prototypes, so they might change a little bit. This is Dominic Sagona's frame. It's a black frame with a silver H-block. This is Louis Zamura's frame. It's a white frame with a gray H-block, and it's going to have a little black lettering in here. And also we've got Josh Petty's going to be getting a frame. The color's actually going to be a little darker than this, more like his standard frame right now. All of these will be available in around Christmas time, probably end of November. They're all dual-core H-blocks. We're going to test a lot of different materials, and the skaters are going to have to try them out and see what material they prefer.
With Ground Control, I had to put together a team that embodied all aspects of skating, and with Chris Haffey, Charles Dunkel, Mike Johnson, Abdil Kohlberg, and Shima. We're all together and we're riding them, and everyone really likes them, and they're continuously giving me new ideas.
You look at the people that ride for it, like Santiago, Jaron Grove, Nick Riggle, Pat Lennon, Jason Reduta, Matt Andrews. Each of them, Eric Burke, don't get any more different. They are completely different. But that's what's the cool thing about them, is that when they are together, no matter where we skate, we're going to skate things, we're going to destroy it, because I've always wanted to have something where each of the people, not only do I think that they're a great skater, but they're cool people, and I care about them.
Really stoked that finally the skate companies have listened to us, small companies, and they've heard our cry, and they know that there's more skaters out there that want to customize their skates.
The one thing that I really want to stress is I really want to make sure that kids kind of think for themselves. It's really important, if you're going to believe in companies, that's cool, but you should believe in them for the right reasons, and you should be stoked on them because they are different and because they bring something good to the industry. You got to support the companies that you believe in, and if you do so, then they'll support you back because they'll keep making cool new shit.
It's just about to blow up, and it's really exciting times right now. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens.